Welcome to the Accuray demonstration video. During this short video, we will demonstrate how to create a reporting entity, set up a new report, import and edit data, and roll forward the report to the next period. We begin in the Entities List screen, where we see a list of all the entities that we have created reports for. We will click on the New Entity button and create our entity Demonstration Limited. We are taken to the Edit screen where we complete our entity setup. If we were a single entity, we have our parent division and there is nothing further to do. However, we will create a consolidation and we import our consolidation divisions where a division represents a trial balance. Let's move to our reports list. We will create our report using the report wizard. We see that the wizard guides us through the key components of our report's setup, including the country. We will select a private FRS 102 basis of preparation and add our version. As we are preparing a 2-column report, we switch Show Parent to Off. If required, it is possible to edit all of these report options at a later stage from within the report. We are taken to the Report Options Setup screen, where we can continue setting up or changing the report options. You are able to access these and many more report options by selecting the cog icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Example financial statements are constantly updated and available from the navigation menu. The Sections Setup screen displays the various components of the report for the chosen basis of preparation. It also allows us to import custom sections which will be incorporated into the report layout. We are also able to customize the contents and the Notes Contents page. All bases of preparations include the optional ESG report section, which can be used to produce an integrated ESG report. Once Print section is set to Yes, the ESG report will show within the Sections menu. Each of the named sections contain placeholder paragraphs and tables which can be used for specific disclosures. And finally, within Report Options Styles, we are able to change the formatting of the report. Once we have finished the setup of our report, we are ready to move to the Inputs menu to begin adding our numbers and disclosures. It is possible to import single or multiple trial balances from an Excel file. There are multiple import options available. The first option is importing a trial balance where the file is formatted in the Accuray format. The second option is to use your existing Excel trial balance format. Once the file has been imported, we designate the account number, account name, and current and prior balances. The final option is to copy and paste your trial balance data into the software. Again, we designate the account number, account name, and current and prior balances. Here we see the trial balances we have imported for our divisions, which will form our consolidated balances. For our first report, we map the accounts to create our report balances. For future reports, only new accounts require mapping on import. We know that the trial balance is just the starting point for many statutory reports, and adjustments are required for things such as reclassifications, tax entries, and audit adjustments. Adjustments can be entered directly into the software or can be imported and exported by Excel. Let's move to the chart of accounts. We see that there are almost 3,000 allocations available, and if we hide the unused rows, we see the chart of accounts that has been created using our numbers. It is here that we can add rounding. Rounding discrepancies are flagged within the software and are hyperlinked to the chart of accounts where rounding can be entered as required. We now tend to think about other disclosures that are required in the report. We can type the disclosures data directly into our report, or alternatively, we can export the disclosures table, populate the data in Excel, and import the data into our report. We could, for example, send the file to a client or a colleague to complete. There are hundreds of inbuilt balance checks which constantly check manually input or imported data to the trial balance and other balances. And now let's move into our report, which is beginning to take shape. We move to the Sections menu and to the Directors Report. Let's move into the Directors section, where we now see the data that we imported via the Disclosures file. We can easily modify or continue working with the data via the Edit Table screen. Moving to the profit or loss. We switch Preview mode to On and see the structure of the P&L that has been created by the allocations we used. We switch Preview mode to Off and see all of the allocations available to create a large variety of P&L formats. We can link to a note breakdown, or we can show balances on the face only. There are a range of options available in Settings, including the name of the statement and switching brackets on or off. Let's keep moving to the financial position or balance sheet. Here we see that each balance is linked to a note. We click the link to be taken to the note breakdown. Again, within Settings, we have alternative presentation formats available. Let's change the format name to Balance Sheet. And let's select Format 1 GAAP Terminology. Once we are happy with our profit or loss and balance sheet, we are now ready to start thinking about our cash flow statement. We see within Settings that both direct and indirect statement types are available. There is then the option of preparing either statement using the manual method or the linked method. Using the manual method, we are able to enter data, for example, from a cash flow worksheet, directly into the face statement. If we select Linked, we now utilize the software to calculate and allocate our cash flow movements. We then use the cash flow module to review and compare the calculations. There is a Warnings tab which highlights any issues, and there is an on-screen audit trail which can be exported to Excel. Now that we have completed our face statements, it's time to move into the notes. We click the cog beside any note to see the report options relevant to that note. We are able to sort the order of the notes. The note numbering will be updated on the face statements as well as throughout the report. Let's move into our revenue note. We can click on the allocation to the left of any row and see an on-screen audit trail. We click on the filter to the right and we are taken to the filtered trial balance. We can easily reallocate accounts here without having to navigate back to the trial balance screen. And where we see an eye icon, we can hover to see the relevant source literature reference. We will switch preview mode to off to see everything available to us within the note. If we click the three dots to the right of a row or paragraph, we open a menu of editing options available to us. There are many spare text blocks available within each report. It is also possible to insert additional text blocks for custom content. We can apply formatting and styles and select additional text blocks. Let's move to another note to demonstrate the other editing features. We see that again the data from our disclosures file has been used to populate our tangible assets reconciliation. We click on the balance check and see that there is a discrepancy between the reconciliation and the balance sheet. If there was a specific table that we wanted to include in our note, we can click the three dots and see that there are a number of options available. These include current and prior tables, through to bullet point and text tables. We then have the manual table type, which offers more flexibility. Here we have created an example which now appears in our notes. And when we export to Word, we see that there are uniform column widths, justifications, and formatting consistent with the rest of the report. Because we always try to maintain the highest level of automation possible, there are several options available for when we are creating custom content. For example, we are able to insert a balance check for the table we just created. If we create a custom paragraph that contains dates or numbers, it is possible to make these dates and numbers dynamic so that they are automatically updated on roll forward or when our numbers change. For example, we can insert the period end date as a field. It will now be updated on roll forward based on the information in the report options. We can also insert a number from a table elsewhere within the report. The number will be updated to reflect any changes to the source, which may include changes to the trial balance and adjustments. In the case that we do have a paragraph or table within our note that requires manual updating, we can click the three dots, select Comments, and add a comment. Unresolved comments will show in orange and resolved will show in green. All comments are found within the Comments module and include a link to the source. Now that we have made good progress on our first draft of our report, we can tag our report via the XBRL module. Clicking Auto Tag, the software will tag the report for you. Tags can be reviewed on screen by clicking a tag, and the information will be displayed on the right side of the screen. Alternatively, the tags can be reviewed via the highlighted Tags HTML report, which is found in the Output screen. Once we have tagged our report, let's move to Outputs to begin our review. For our first review, we will export 5 outputs. The first is our annual report in PDF format, and then the internal review reports, comprehensive audit trail in Excel, the cash flow audit trail, and our IXBRL file. Within the annual report, we see the disclosures that we imported, the custom section Chairman's Report, our profit or loss, including a combination of balances linked to a note and face-only balances. We see our balance sheet, cash flow prepared using the cash flow module, and finally the notes. Next, let's look at the comprehensive audit trail, where we will see the results of our consolidation. First, we see a summary of our current and prior period balances by division. It begins with the imported trial balance, adds adjustments, and arrives at a total on a division-by-division basis. We then see the consolidated balances, which reflects those shown in the report. The balances are hyperlinked to the Detailed tab. Any adjustments are also shown in the Detailed tab, and similarly they are hyperlinked to the Adjustments breakdown. Finally, our internal review report. This document is particularly useful for review purposes as it consolidates the areas still requiring attention with key information such as the report options selected and other information into one short report. And now, returning to the report, let's assume that we have finished our Draft 1 and we are ready to begin Draft 2. We move back to our reports list. First, we lock our Draft 1 report, meaning it becomes read-only. Next, we click the Duplicate button to create a copy of our report and name this Draft 2. Let's now jump forward to the beginning of our report preparation process next year. And let's assume that Draft 2 was our final signed version. We begin again by locking the report. Next, we click the Roll Forward button, and we begin back at Draft 1. Let's open our rolled forward report. Beginning at the trial balance, we see that all balances have moved to the prior period, and we are ready to import our current period trial balances. Our prior period allocations will be applied to the current period. Next, we move to the balance sheet, where we see the structure from the prior period remains and the current period will be derived once we input our current period trial balances. And to finish, we will click through to the tangible assets note. Here we see the balances in the reconciliation table have been moved up, and we are ready to input our current period movements. This concludes the software demonstration. You will find more information about the software on our website accuri.com. The resources page contains other instructional videos, and the examples page allows you to download sample reports that have been prepared using the software. Thank you for watching.